Today, Gene Pitney is taking us back even further than my usual 40 or 50 years. Let's wind back a full 60 years for 4 random tracks from his 1964 album, It Hurts to Be in Love. Welcome to another Random Foreplay. If you've not joined me for one of those before, it's where I put an album on shuffle and listen to the first 4 songs that come up. This is another album I've known and loved my entire life, basically, and it's early 60s and not Bob Dylan, so therefore every track's nice and short and the time's going to fly by. I have no idea which songs we'll hear because it's random, so we might get big hits like the title track or I'm Gonna Be Strong, some cool deep cuts, or maybe the first song to ever make the American charts that was penned by Keith Richards and Mick Jagger. Well, we shall see. Whatever happens, I'll be unpacking each track. I'll also try not to sing along too much. So let's grab our headphones, settle in, and see what Gene and the gods of randomness have got in store for us today. Starting with this one. We are starting at the very end of the album. This is album closer, I'm Gonna Find Myself a Girl.
I'm gonna find myself a girl. Soft eyes that shine with love for me. Whoa, I'm gonna find myself a girl. A girl, someone made specially for me. Somewhere I know that there's a girl. Somehow I know that we will meet.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I'm gonna find myself a girl, then my small world is complete. I'll see her angel face there in some crowded place, and then I'll know that I found her. I found her.
Really nice arrangement on this with the strings and the mariachi trumpets.
Whoa, somewhere there must be a girl waiting for someone like me. Then my small world is complete. Someone made special.
Told you the songs were quick. We'll roll right into random track number 2, which will pop along any second now. Side closure side 2, the side closure side 1. Joe Meeks' Lips Are Redder on You.
There's nothing quite as red as the cherries in the trees overhead. Then you looked at me
And then I knew the lips were redder on you. As red as his t-shirt.
There's nothing quite as blue as the sky on a summer afternoon. Then you looked at me and then I knew the eyes were bluer on you. The moment that I saw you, somehow I just knew. When I held you close to me, I could never let you go. And now I know I love you so. There's nothing quite as fine as a sweet sugar plum from the vine. Till I kissed your lips, I never knew the kiss was sweeter from you.
So keen for it to be over. Yeah, that's how you fade things out in the 60s. Super fast. I did say it was going to be quick, and unbelievably, or possibly believably, we're already halfway through. Now, when I was growing up, this album was kind of shorthand for a quick album. It was like, you haven't got any time to play anything, I'll just put Gene on, which is kind of strange because we did have shorter albums. There's Simon and Garfunkel albums that are even shorter than this. This almost hits half an hour. I know, 12 songs, half an hour. What would you say to that these days? Yeah, quite different arrangement on those two songs. They're both, you know, romantically inclined tunes, as 99% of pop music was in the 60s, certainly the early 60s. And I like both of those tunes a fair bit, even though I've never been romantically inclined towards someone with red lips or girls. But I didn't know I wasn't going to be when I was first listening to this when I was this big. So, as I say, there's other deep cuts such as this, some of which I like more, some of which I like less, and a few really big hits for him. Quite what we'll find in our remaining two tracks, I do not know. But, well, shall we find out? Let's do that. Probably run the next two back to back as well, depending on what comes up. And then we'll do what we could have won, which is we would look at the next four tracks very briefly to see what we might have listened to if we hadn't listened to the songs that we have listened to. Does that make sense? I hope so. Anyway, let's carry on with track number 3, and that's going to be this. Ooh. Might be my favourite deep cut on the album, Follow the Sun. It's the longest song on side 1, 2 minutes 29.
So long, baby, though I hate to leave you. I was born a drifter and I follow the sun. Your daddy's apples need no picking. The wire fence ain't torn and rusted. I'm out of work and almost busted. Gotta pack up my bag. Gotta get up and follow the sun.
Love a good minor key, me.
Farewell, honey, gonna miss your loving, but the harvest over and I gotta be gone. I'll be in Georgia picking peaches, Louisiana hoeing cotton, and running broadleaf in Richmond. When you walk in the field, and you just gotta follow the sun. My daddy was a working man, carried his home in a sack. All that he left me on the day that he died was the muscle in my back. Goodbye, darling, don't forget my kisses. Keep the porch light burning, I'll be back in a year. I'll be in Portland, hauling timber, in Arizona, picking melon, and I'll be thinking how I miss you. But a few working men gotta get up and follow the sun. I said a few working men, he's gotta get up and follow the sun. I said a few working men.
We'll pause it very briefly here, just to say I've never worked an honest day in the fields myself, and I'm pretty sure Gene never did either. But in terms of delivering that song, he sells it. Got some grit in there, which is not necessarily what you think of when you think of Gene Pitney. I just love the slightly different take on 60s romanticism and pop that you get on that track. Right, we are up to our final track of the day already, I know. Well, let's see what it's going to be.
Se domani,
Deeper still we go.
se domani,
And Gene's turned Italian on us for our final track.
se domani. rivedere te. Mettiamo il caso che ti sentissi stanca di me. Quello che basta o l'altra gente non mi darà. Nemmeno l'ombra della perduta felicità. E se domani e sotto se all'improvviso perdessi te, avrei perduto il mondo intero, non solo te.
I have no idea what I'm saying. I believe Gene does. He certainly sounds like he does. The ending now. Yet though. It's funny when you know things are short. You think they're even shorter than they are. All right. We will carry on, as I say, with what we could have won. So here's the first 10 seconds of what might have been our first song. I'm Gonna Be Strong. The other really big hit from the album. And I'll talk about that in a second. But that's all the time we have to hear from that. If we had had it, we would have followed it with Who Needs It? That Girl Belongs to Yesterday, and I'll talk about that in a second as well. And I Love You More Today, which is the run to the letter. It's the worst song on the album as far as I'm concerned. So I hope you enjoyed some Deep Gene. I certainly did. Let's go and chat a little bit more before we go. Okay, yes, we didn't find any of the hits today in our random search for 4 songs, but we did get some good ones. Follow the Sun, probably my favourite, definitely deep cut on the album, and then Se Domani, which has Gene doing his best Italian. And if you'd like that, for me, one song is enough, but there is a whole album available somewhere called Gene Italiano, where he does more of that sort of thing. We didn't get to the hits, as I said, but we were this close to I'm Gonna Be Strong, which is the album opener and one of my favourite things by him ever, really. It was also the bigger hit in the UK. It reached number 2 here. And in fact, the album was called I'm Gonna Be Strong as a result, because It Hurts to Be in Love was a bigger hit in the US, but only scraped the top 40 in the UK. And then that other track, I mentioned it earlier, the song written by Jagger and Richards, that was the first to ever make it into the US charts. That Girl Belongs to Yesterday. Only made number 47, but was another top 10 hit in the UK. You don't, again, really associate Gene with the Rolling Stones, but yeah, he came over and he played on their first album. He's on piano, and little by little, he got around. And this was his actually highest charting album in the US, reached number 42. And then after that, pretty swiftly, he didn't have that many more big hits in the US, but had a whole string more of them in the UK, right up to 68, with Something's Gotten Hold of My Heart being his last really big one, number 5. Of course, decades later it became even bigger, but we won't be talking about that today. Speaking of the album title, actually, you saw it when it was up that it has the phrase "and 11 more hit songs" under the title. Wikipedia insists that the full title of this album is It Hurts to Be in Love and 11 More Hit Songs. But it's not, it's just called It Hurts to Be in Love. So ignore that. If you can't find it on Wikipedia, that's why. Anyway, as I say, I've enjoyed that album since I was very, very little, and I still like it now when I'm very, very big. So thank you, Gene, for a lifetime's entertainment on one tiny platter. I can't imagine anyone's watching this, listening to Gene Pitney for the first time, but it is certainly plausible that you know Gene, but you didn't know any of the songs that came up. So I hope you enjoyed them and heard something new from him after all this time. That's going to be it for today, but there's always plenty more on the channel, and I do have more from Gene, in fact, around, and other great 60s stuff, a couple of suggestions for which floating around my head about now. So like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on something sooner rather than later. So thanks for watching today, and bye for now, and I hope not for long.
Acting is reacting. This does not mean acting again.